Water, water everywhere. Now, this line has been quoted from the poem The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, very famous line, because he could see only water everywhere. I could feel that the ship had water below, but I dared not abandon the wheel to investigate because he could not take any risk. He had to steer the wheel. Suddenly, the front hatch was thrown open and Mary appeared. Hatch means opening in the deck that serves as a doorway. So Mary came out from that hatch. "We are sinking," she screamed. She shouted, she screamed that we are sinking, that they were sinking. "The decks are smashed. We are full of water." "Take the wheel," I shouted as I scrambled for the hatch. He gave the wheel to her, and somehow he could, reach the hatch by using his hands as well as feet. Larry and Herb were pumping like madmen. They were pumping the water out like crazy people. They were the two crewmen who were sailing with them. Broken timbers hung at crazy angles because lot of damage had occurred in the ship. So the wooden part frame was hanging at crazy angles. The whole starboard side, that means the right side of the boat, starboard side is the right side and port side is the left hand side, so they call it starboard side and port side. So starboard side, that is the whole right side of the boat, bulged inwards because of the force of the water, of the wave. It had bulged inwards, it had protruded inwards. Clothes, crockery, charts, tins and toys, because children were also traveling with them, so toys were also there, sloshed about in deep water. They were scattered in deep water, got splashed everywhere. I half swam, half crawled into the children's cabin. "Are you all right?" I asked. "Yes," they answered from an upper bunk. Upper bunk is built in bed. So they answered yes. They said that they were okay. "But my head hurts a bit," said Sue. Sue, his daughter, she said that her head hurt a bit, pointing to a big bump above her eyes. I had no time to worry about bumped heads, but he had no time to console her daughter. After finding a hammer, screws, and canvas, I struggled back on deck. With the starboard side bashed open, because the starboard side was totally open, had got severely damaged. We were taking water with each wave that broke over us. So with every wave, the water was rushing in from that side. If I couldn't make some repairs, we would surely sink. So he had to make some repairs so that the water could deflect from there. Otherwise, water was getting inside from that side with each wave. And they were having water in the ship which could, sink the whole ship. Somehow I managed to stretch canvas and secure waterproof hatch covers across the gaping holes. Because of the force of water, there were wide opened holes. So he secured those holes, covered those holes with the help of canvas and waterproof hatch covers. Some water continued to stream below, but still some water was coming in the ship, but most of it was now being deflected. Deflected means diverted, sent back over the side. More problems arose when our hand pump started to block up with the debris. Debris means junk, rubble, trash floating around the cabins, and the electric pump short circuited. The electric pump had got short circuited, that means it was not functioning. It was inoperable. And the hand pumps, the manual ones, were starting to block. So more problems arose when our hand pumps started to block up with the debris floating around the cabins, and the electric pump short circuited. So it became difficult for them to pump the water out. The water level rose threateningly. Back on deck, I found that our 2 spare hand pumps had been wrenched overboard. He went up to see for the 2 spare hand pumps, but they had got wrenched, means twisted, along with the forestay sail, that triangular sail, the jib, that is again another type of sail which is again triangular in shape, the dinghies, the life rafts which are inflatable, and the main anchor. So the hand pumps had got twisted and entangled with these things, so could not use them also. Then I remembered we had another electric pump under the chart room floor. I connected it to an outpipe and was thankful to find that it worked. So only one pump which you could find in the chart room floor was working. So that was the only saving grace for them. The night dragged on with an endless, bitterly cold routine of pumping, steering, and working the radio. Now they were trying very hard to save themselves, and they were working on the radio also. They were trying to send signals, distress signals. We were getting no replies to our mayday calls. When aircrafts or ships or boats or vessels are in trouble on sea, or aircrafts in the air, they send mayday calls. Mayday calls are the distress radio signals when there is some life-threatening emergency. So mayday is called thrice: mayday, 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 which was not surprising in this remote corner of the world. But they were not getting any replies because they were in the remote corner of the world. So maybe no other vessel or ship or any boat was nearby which could catch their mayday calls. Sue's head had swollen alarmingly. She had 2 enormous black eyes. Now when he saw that Sue's head, her daughter's head, had swollen alarmingly, and she had got 2 enormous eyes, and she showed a deep cut also on her arm, he got really worried. When I asked why she hadn't made more of her injuries before this, she replied, "I didn't want to worry you when you were trying to save us all." But here, a 6-year-old girl is showing so much of courage. Even she was so severely hurt, injured, and she was in great pain, but she didn't bother her father at all because he was busy in saving everyone. So she didn't want him to worry more. She felt it insignificant to tell him about her injuries at that moment of time. So when he saw her head swollen and her injuries, he got really worried. So here we can see that how a 6-year-old girl showed such courage.